Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Recently, I had to tell a guy to go home after he got to my place for a hookup. I felt bad, but to be honest, he did not look like his photo. And anyone is entitled to withdraw consent at any time. Today, I'll be dishing the details on this story, as well as sharing some of my thoughts on flat out saying no to hookups. But first, a little background. I had just closed escrow on a rental property and was about to lease it out to a few law school students. We were still a few days away from exchanging keys, so after I showed the place to my friends in the afternoon, I decided to take this chance to host a little hookup. I popped open Grindr as soon as my friends left and the messages came trickling in. A cute 22-year-old Filipino guy caught my eye. He only had one photo and I actually recognized it from Instagram. He was following me. His Instagram had 0 posts, so I only had one photo to make my decision. To be honest, I wish I had asked for more pics, but he had quickly agreed to perform fellatio on me already, so I just shot over my address. It was a 20-minute drive, and he also had to run some errands first, so I went out to buy a cake to bring to dinner that night with my ex Andrew, who was already my ex at that time. Yes, I've been very single for a while. A few minutes after I got back and put the cake in the fridge, this Grindr guy said he had just parked. Great, can't wait for some fun, I thought. I opened the door, greeting him. Hey, come on in. Sorry I don't have any furniture. Oh, it's okay, he said as he nervously stepped in. As I explained that we could either do it by the fireplace steps or on the patio furniture in the backyard, I realized that he looked quite different from his Grindr photo. In his photo, he had a more boyish collegiate look. In person, he seemed like a more mature dad type. It was definitely him, but just very different. As soon as he responded saying that he was okay with either location, I just plainly told him, hey, sorry, I'm gonna have to pass. It wasn't my first time avoiding a hookup after seeing them in person, but it was the first time seeing someone become so dejected in front of me. In a shaky, soft tone, he said, oh, okay, as he turned around. As I walked him back to the door, I thanked him for coming out and tried to be polite. I felt so bad, especially seeing him this sad. I mean, I've also been rejected before. I've had a guy disappear from my place after I went to the bathroom before a hookup. I've also had guys flat out say they weren't interested in me after a first date. And those are moments I will remember forever. I would think to myself, am I doing something wrong? Why didn't he like me? At these times, I had my small moments of self-doubt. But overall, I was still pretty confident in myself. I know this isn't the same for everyone. But if a generally confident person like I was already replaying these moments of rejection over and over again, imagine how much more defeating it can feel for someone with more insecurities. At the same time, we don't owe anybody anything sexual. Consent can be withdrawn at any time, and if it is, it should be respected. Just because someone buys you food or drives 20 minutes for you doesn't mean you owe them sex. Sure, maybe you can volunteer to pay for the food they bought or offer gas money, but you should never feel like you have to put out. Another reason I was able to so swiftly say no is that one of my friends had told me how one time a hookup cried right in front of him when he rejected the guy. The unapologetic straightforwardness of this friend inspired me to also be clear about my intentions and what I'm okay with. I wasn't okay that he looked different from his photo, and I changed my mind. I have every right to do that. And if he's sad about that, I'm sorry that he feels that way. But just because someone is sad doesn't mean I have to sleep with them. And even if someone does look like their pics, you don't have to do anything you don't feel like doing. Ever. Never be afraid to say no. Oh, and by the way, he still follows me on Instagram. But what about you? Have you ever had to reject a hookup? Were you the one rejected? I'd love to hear your stories. And lastly, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like, and don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell so you don't miss future videos. Thanks for watching, and have a great day!